it's around 7:30 and it's Sunday morning, so I am kind of worried that I'm starting to get sick. I can taste it in like the back of my throat. So I'm making some tea right now, and I'm probably gonna try and like take a slower day today. And I can't get sick this week, so we're gonna try and rest and nip that in the bud. So we're not gonna try to go too hard today. If I do work out, it's gonna be a lot lighter. I'm not gonna go too crazy. So.
Talking about just vision and execution. Fears arise when you look back, and they arise when you look ahead. If you're prone to disaster fantasies, you may even find yourself caught in the middle, staring at your half-finished canvas and fearing both that you lack the ability to finish it and that no one will understand it if you do. More often, though, fears arise in those entirely appropriate and frequently recurring moments when vision races ahead of execution. Consider the story of the young student, David Bales to be exact, who began piano studies with a master. After a few months' practice, David lamented to his teacher, "But I can hear the music so much better in my head than I can get out on my fingers." To which the master replied, "What makes you think that ever changes?" That's why they're called masters. When he raised David's discovery from an expression of self-doubt to a simple observation of reality, uncertainty became an asset. Lesson for the day: vision is always ahead of execution, and it should be. Vision, uncertainty, and knowledge of materials are inevitabilities that all artists must acknowledge and learn from. Vision is always ahead of execution. Knowledge of materials is your contact with reality, and uncertainty is a virtue. So as far as like where I'm at right now in the design process, I just feel so much self-doubt, and like he said, self-doubt is in simple observation of reality. The reality is I'm not where I want to be yet, and I'm not a good enough designer yet, but it's that doubt that's an observation of reality that will drive me to show up to do my work every day. It will help be my teacher as far as design and keep me from falling into an egocentric, overinflated, that first part of the arc that I talked about, where your skills are so much lower than your mindset about them. If I could somehow navigate having a little more confidence, that would be great. I think especially as a woman designer, not that it's the most important thing, but especially since the field I want to go into is product design, it's going to be really hard for me to really make my name and make myself, get a job and get in there if I'm not really good as well as confident. So I don't know, how do you grow confidence? I try to just be a friend to myself and encourage myself all the time. I think of it almost like I'm looking at a kid who's doing something for the first time and celebrating with them. Like running that 10K walking that 10K yesterday. I was so excited. Like, I was just like, yeah, I'm so proud of you. Like, and I got myself some hot chocolate and like another chocolate and ate some food. And so it was just like, I think that it's so important to celebrate the small victories. Like finishing the first week of this and uploading my first video, like that's really fun, and I was so excited about that last night. Everyone was just like, okay.
but yeah, like, it's important to celebrate everything that you're excited about, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, it's hard to overcome that self-doubt, and I'm still terrible at it, let's be honest. Like, it's gotten a lot better. I used to be really bad, but it's still hard not to get overly stressed about other people's perception of me and other people's perception of my success. Now, I think that, like Maya Angelou said, Angelou? I said that weird. Maya Angelou said, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. And I'm trying to look to that and that mindset as inspiration for, okay, success isn't when I've finished this 24 weeks or when I've finished college or when I'm there. It's today. I'm successful today. I really am. I like myself. I like all of myself. I like what I'm doing, vlogging this right now, reading books, other things, working out, running a 10K, going to church, and all of those other aspects of my life. And I like how I do it. I honestly won't apologize for that. I like how I do it. Yeah, it was awkward yesterday because one of my friends was coming over to work on some stuff, and I was like really excited for her to like be using my computer and helping like work on this project, and just I don't really have people over, like my friends over, that much, so I was just really excited about that. But it was weird. It was like really embarrassing, and it felt very vulnerable for someone else to be using my desk space, and I didn't like think about, oh, that might be uncomfortable because I'm used to it. But it was just like weirdly like embarrassing, and I don't know if you guys feel that way too, but like I want people to use my computer because it's a decent computer. I won't say it's the best one. I need to stop bragging about it because honestly, like it's making me nervous that it's gonna break or something. But it does work, and it's much better than the ones at school. So I want people to be able to use it if they need to, but it also makes me so, like, it makes me feel like it has to go perfectly or be perfectly suited to them. And honestly, it just won't be. It just won't be. So, yeah, that's, like, some other random thoughts. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. Along with that section from Art and Fear, I actually ended up writing some poetry about it, so I thought I should record that now. One perfect note is no symphony. In fact, one perfect note is not a note at all. It is awareness, timeliness, and above all, every note that comes before and after. It is the life lived by every hearer, every practice of composer and performer. We do not make one perfect thing, but that which is organic and flows from us is preferred to the constructed perfection of what we perceive to be good. We cannot assume goodness to be solely based on precedent. Today has never been before, nor have I. This is the oldest I've ever been and the youngest I'll ever be. Therefore, do not make to be noticed. Do not change to be worthy. Do not think of the impressiveness of you, for you are but a note in the symphony, a line in the song. It's this strange, I think there's a strange pressure, too, of myself to be a good enough note, you know? Like, no matter what I do in my life, I'm going to be a note, but it's like I have this desperate desire to add my verse to the song, and add my line to the poetry. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a good thing to drive towards. I think I need to trust that organic flowing a little bit more and know that what I create is not necessarily perfect, but it's okay that I'm the one who made it. I think that's more hard for me to recognize than the art itself being imperfect, is that I'm the person who made it. I'm the person who told the joke. And I've heard that with like some comedians, like it's like they're okay with their jokes, but it's hard when the laughing stops and they have to just be themselves.
And it's like, it's not necessarily do they like the art or not, but it's do they like me. Like, do it is what I have, it's not necessarily what I do, but what I am. Is that good enough? And I feel like that's something that I have to come to terms with on my own and be content being a note in the symphony. Just one note. I'm just one note. So how can I harmonize with some of the other notes, and how can I add something new and interesting that hasn't been done yet? You know, you don't want just like dun 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 dun. You know, I want to be like a ba or a ba when it's like in a song. That was such a weird example, but I don't know. Yeah, that's just what I'm thinking about this morning. So hey guys, just for like full transparency, because I do have days like this, I am really struggling with like not having all the answers. Like, it's hard for me not to know everything that's going on. Like, I'm trying to get my Google Maps set up with like Easton, going to the Barnes & Noble there, and I'm like trying to do too much, and I feel like my mind is kind of racing a little bit, and it's also because I'm hungry. So like, me being hungry always makes everything harder. I think it's really difficult to think clearly when you're like hungry. So I just wanted to like record that really fast because I don't want it to seem like I'm always having all these really deep thoughts. It's like there's moments where it's like really hard too. So I'm gonna start driving now, but that's just a little check-in. Full honesty, today has been rough so far. Church was good. I was really glad I went, and I just went to Easton to get some lunch with my friends, and we went out and picked out a Christmas tree for their apartment. But I am not feeling myself right now, which is just really frustrating when there's so much expected of me. If I'm not feeling myself, I can't show up and be myself in the situation. It's weird because I feel like so much of how I feel right now is just how I constantly felt when I was younger. And it's not something that, like, my parents were doing the best they could, but there was always this constant, like, underpinning fear. And it was just so much, like, stress and anxiety and just feeling literally, like, sick almost all the time. Like, not all the time. Like, I'm pretty used to feeling like this a lot of the time. And like right now is probably the worst I've felt in months, if not like this whole year. Not actually too bad, but it's hard to remember the hard times when you're in the good times, and it's hard to remember the good times when you're in the hard times. I'm sure that's a universal thing, but I just wanted to touch in and say, hey, like, I have the privilege right now to say this isn't working, I'm gonna change it. I'm going to take the rest of today off and rest. I'm going to go grocery shopping now. That'll help be a stress reliever. Have some food to like actually eat so that I'm not just eating rice and pesto for days. That's how the last few days have been. So today was good so far, having like an actual meal of like, you know, with like other meat and like more balanced diet. Not necessarily you have to eat on meat all the time, but you should definitely have some kind of protein. Anyway, I just wanted to say, like, it's okay to redirect when you're in the middle of something, especially if you feel this immense pressure to respond one way. I think it's really fear driving you when you choose to do that, and it's faith and trust to choose to take rest. I'm choosing to take rest. It's kind of a risky move today, but I think that I'll be better equipped to handle the rest of this week. I just have to overcome that guilt with it too, right? Like, it's one thing to know the right thing to do is rest. It's another thing not to feel shame or guilt about it. Because we live in a world where, I mean, this is universal. It's not necessarily just capitalism. It's not necessarily, you know, any kind of ism. It's living in a world that will take whatever's given. It will take as much as you give it, and while I always think it's important to invest in yourself first, I think it's also important to also invest in rest. Like, that's an investment as well. You don't always have to be working out to be investing in yourself. Like, getting good food, water, those things. You can see my lips are like super chapped right now. I didn't bring enough water in the car, and when I'm a little sick, it's like hydration's the number one thing I need. So like my lips just get really dry. But yeah, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get some groceries. I'm probably gonna splurge a tiny bit and get something like one of those, I don't know, turmeric shots or something. I know they're not really like gonna make that much of a difference, but I feel better when I have them, so I'm gonna take one. Oh, I just saw a dog in someone's car. That's so cute. But yeah, I feel terrible right now, but I've definitely felt worse, and it's so humbling when you do hit this wall to say, okay, I can't do everything, but I'm gonna trust that it'll be okay if I rest right now. And I know that that's a privileged choice that I get to make, but it's one I'm making today. I have to, or I won't have anything to give for the rest of this week. And it's only Sunday, so I have to have a lot left to give. I have the presentation on Friday, but I have until Friday. I have until Friday to do it, so, you know, whatever. I have until Friday. I also have until Thursday for the other presentation, so, you know, I have plenty of time. Plenty of time to drop my phone on myself, and I'm gonna go in, and I'm gonna get some good groceries, and I'm gonna get some good food, and I'm gonna act in faith and not fear. And I'm gonna act in love and not fear. And that's a choice that I'm making right now. And it's not something that's easy to do. Trust me, this whole morning has been super funky. But my friend Kayla, who always catches on to like any kind of feelings, was like, dude, you're super off right now. And I was just like constantly explaining myself. But it's just like, dude, just don't be here right now. You should be resting. Like, go home and rest. And it's like, it's so frustrating when you're in situations where you're like, what I really needed to do is not this, to like still show up and be present. But yeah, I feel super funky. I'm not really myself at the moment, but I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna take a nap and I'm gonna make some good choices, like sleep, like a nap, like doing something relaxing. And it doesn't matter if I've done something else relaxing this weekend. If I need this, I need this, and I'm gonna do it. So, okay. All that to say, encouragement is act. If you feel some immense pressure to respond one particular way, then you're acting out of fear and not out of love, and it's gonna be painful. Like it's not gonna be the right choice if you're doing it out of fear. So, that's what I think is probably important to remember. And I'm going to be a good role model, and I'm shaking the camera a bunch, but I'm going to be a good role model with that, and I'm going to go take care of myself. So, oh gosh, I was just covering the microphone. This is why I need a new phone. This is not good. Anyway, I'm going to go be a good role model and take care of myself. All of you need to take care of yourselves, eat groceries, buy groceries, eat food, sleep well, drink water, and don't be dehydrated. So I just left the grocery store. I already feel significantly better, way better. Once I decided that I was gonna rest today, it's like my body was like, hey, thanks for listening to the signals we were sending you this whole freaking time. So I just feel like insanely blessed to be able to do that, for one, but I also think that it's this mindset of affluence, right? Like, I'm not saying that like I have anything that I have a car, I have all these things that like I didn't have last year. But I think this like scarcity mindset can be so damaging, and I think that's where I was. Sorry for this weird shadow. It's my windshield right here, or like not windshield, my mirror. It's hitting me right there. The scarcity mindset is something that I kind of grew up surrounded by, and it's because of the situations I was in. It's something intentional, but it's just felt very strange to be back there in the mindset of not having enough and not having the freedom to get what I want. And I know that's like part of being a kid too. You don't have the freedom to make those choices. But I think that it's such an act of like, almost an act of rebellion to rest in our world. And it's almost an act of rebellion to say that I have what I need. And it's an insanely privileged mindset to have. And I'm not saying that like it's something everybody should have, but like I could have all the money in the world and it still wouldn't be enough to overcome this scarcity mindset that I'm struggling with. So I guess I'm acting in confidence right now that despite how I feel, despite the feeling that I don't have enough time, I'm going to act like I have plenty of time to take care of myself and rest. Because in the reality, like the long run, like I would rather rest now than end up having to like stop what I want to do for a longer time. So I guess that's my perspective to have. Like, me resting in this short time now isn't a waste of time. It's making myself free to give everything I have and be myself again. So take your time, just rest, and know that despite how it feels, you will be okay. I just want to remind everyone that there is an abundance of so much in the world. Like, there's no shortage of my happiness that is going to take away from someone else's, and there's no shortage of pain, but there's also no shortage of goodness, and there's no limit to the goodness that can happen. Like, just because something good happens doesn't mean that's the only good thing that's going to happen or something bad's going to happen after. I just want to say that because, like, I think that's part of the scarcity mindset, is the idea that what we have is going to be taken from us in a moment. So we have to, like, hold on to it like it's all that we have. But I think it's really important to live with your hand open. They talked about that at school the other day, too, with chapel. We have to live with our hands open from things. Every time I've felt this bad about projects and about things, it's when I've been clinging to my own performance or expectations of how I should be in a place. I'm sorry to everyone I was hanging out with today. I was super off, so. I feel like such a hypocrite talking about perfectionism when I've tried to record this outro for the day like 4 times. I'm doing great. But I did have a very productive evening time. By that I mean, like, I actually rested. I wasn't trying to be busy. I wasn't trying to do anything. I did read some more of the book Art and Fear, and I had some dinner and talked for a little bit with some roommates, and this afternoon I did get a tiny bit of progress on our project with one of my fellow classmates who came over for a bit. I was mostly resting though, so that was good. But I still feel gross, but it's not that, like, panicky, like, overwhelmed feeling I was getting earlier. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, like, overall today was okay. I just think that it's such a humbling thing whenever we confront our weaknesses to be like, oh, I'm genuinely in need of rest right now, rather than pushing into it and overcoming whatever pain we need to walk. Or, like, it makes me think of yesterday when I was trying to run that 10K. I had to walk for a good chunk because I was like, I can't sustain this longer term if I'm trying to run this whole distance. If I'm trying to finish, I need to walk. I think I needed to walk today. I needed to slow down and trust that I'm enabling myself to follow the distance rather than feeling this immense pressure to always be running. I think seasons are there for a reason. We're made to rest. We're made to do other things besides work. And while it feels so difficult to slow down, on weeks like this where it feels like everything's going to hit you so hard that you won't know how to handle it, it's a lot of trust. It requires a lot of trust. And I'm anticipating some lost sleep this week. I'm anticipating at least 2 late nights, early mornings, especially with, like, trying to have a relatively balanced life that's not just school. It's hard to do that and not have some kind of sacrifice. So it's priorities, and I know I'm prioritizing the right thing, so I'm okay with it. But if working out a lot is going to make me get worse cold-wise, or whatever this little ick I'm dealing with is, I'm not going to go too hard. I'll still do things. I'm just not going to go, like, over the top with it. So, yeah, that's, like, how things are going today. I think it's so weird being alive, honestly. It's just so weird. There's days where, like, you you just think things are going to be a certain way just because it's how they've been in the past, or you get caught in these like thoughts that happen. I'm going to stop myself from rambling now because I'm going to probably cut this part out. What was I going to say? Today was a good lesson, and I'm glad that I was flexible enough with myself to adjust. And that's what I'm trying to be. Rigid when I need it, but adjustable as well. So I can be kind and compassionate while still encouraging myself to do better and be stronger. Because that is ultimately the goal, is self-compassion. Not acting out of fear, but out of enjoyment, out of love. So that's what I want to be. So that's all I have to say. But good night. Now I'm locked out. Yay.